Well, my mother came to this country, she was 16 years old. And then she came from Cary, around the Ring of Cary, and Sneem was the little town where she came from. And then my father came when he was 19, and he came from the north of Ireland by Armagh. Newry was the little town that he was from, and that's where he lived. And so they met in New York. My mother, I just learned this not so long ago, my father's brother was in this country, Edward. A lot of the Irish had little groups where they met from different counties, and so Aunt Nellie, who was my godmother, and so he introduced my mother to Edward. So my mother dated him for a while and everything, but he wanted to go back to Ireland, and my mother did not want to go back to Ireland. So then he left and went back to Ireland, and then my father came. And that's how my mother met my father, from Auntie Nellie. And Aunt Nellie then turned out to be my godmother. All right, I'm your grandmother, Barbara Mallon Connors, and I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, St. Agnes's Hospital, July 15th, 1935. Well, we lived in a house, there were 5 of us, 3 brothers and a sister. My sister was a year older, Kathleen Mallon Radigan. She married an FBI agent like me. And then I had 3 brothers, Stephen Mallon, who lived in Baltimore all his life, and then my brother Michael, and then my other brother, my youngest brother, and he was in Arizona. We just all played together, and did that, and then most of the women were home, and so you played with the children in the neighborhood, and you played in your backyard. Everybody had a backyard, and you stayed there, and you did that. And then we went off to school, and I remember I went to Catholic school, Our Lady of Lourdes, and it was about a mile, and we would walk ourselves, and we'd walk to school, and we'd walk home ourselves, and we had the Daughters of Charity. There were the big coronets, and so we had them, and stayed there, went there till I was in 8th grade. And then I went to the Institute of Notre Dame. They just passed 163 years the school was open, and they just closed it this past year. And so my brothers went to Calvert Hall, the 3 brothers. I didn't want to go, no, so I wanted to go to work, so I did. I went to work at Central Savings Bank, and then I worked there, and then I left there, and then I went to work for the FBI. He happened to come through the office one day, and I can still remember the gal that was the chief clerk. Anytime an agent came through, I worked in the chief clerk's office, and she said, girls, all you girls, this guy's a bachelor. And I always remember him shaking his head, and just laughing and walking out. And so he was there, and then eventually my sister was dating an FBI agent, Jack Radigan, and they were getting married in September. They needed another guy to move in. They asked Dan, he was looking for a place. So he moved in, took Jack's place, and then the other friend, Jim, was dating a girl that I had gone to high school with at Notre Dame, and she said, would you want to go out with Dan? So I said, okay. So we had a blind date, and we started, dating, and before you know it, then next thing, we went play miniature golf. Yeah. So I wasn't good. I had never played miniature golf before, and so it was fun. And Pat and Jim went, with us, and Dan and I, and then I guess he was supposed to, my birthday was coming, so it must have been in June. And then he went back, and he was supposed to call me, or maybe it was July, and he never called me. So then, anyway, I thought, oh, typical guys, they ask you out, and then they never. And so I get into the office on Monday morning, and this guy that I know works, he said, Barbara, Dan Connors was in an automobile accident, and he couldn't get to call you, but he called me and told me to please tell you when he came in that he was in an automobile. And I guess he wasn't badly hurt, but the car was demolished, and he broke an arm or something like that. Oh, yes, I do. We were riding, he had his nice car, new car, and remember we had gone out, and then he asked me about Sirius, and he wanted to get married. I said, well, I have to ask you a couple questions before I answer you. I said, he said, sure. And he started laughing. He said, what are you going to ask me? So I said, well, I want to have my own money. I don't want you asking me what I'm doing with it and all that. And I have my own savings account, and I said, so he started laughing. I said, why are you laughing? He said, because you remind me of my mother. He said, my father gave her so much money, and she had to buy the groceries, buy presents, do everything. And I said, well, that's what my father did to my mother. And I said, the only time they got mad was because of that. And I said, so I always said, no, I'm going to have my own money, because I was working, have my own account, and so he said, no problem. And never in all the years I was married did there ever have a problem with that. I didn't realize it at the time, and I remember, must have been around the 4th of July, and I think my sister Kathleen had come over, and I remember I couldn't understand it. I was so sick in my stomach, and I couldn't understand, why am I sick in my stomach? And then a little bit later I found out that I was pregnant with Kathleen.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was thrilled to death, yeah. And apparently Poppy was thrilled to death too, because they said when I had him, he went back to work, and my friend Harriet, who's almost like a sister to me, she said, oh my gosh, your father came into the office and he was so excited that he had a daughter, So with each one, he loved each one of them, yeah. And he was a great father, yeah. First 3 were born in Bon Secours Hospital in Baltimore. And then I had a problem with my third one. So the 4th one was Montgomery General, but he was born, Steve, in Montgomery General in Baltimore. So all of them there, yeah. I can remember one thing with her, that when we came back from California, well, Kathleen, she was a little bit devilish, and she took off running down San Francisco Airport. I said to Dan, watch the other 4. She kept running, and I had high heels on because nobody traveled in pajamas and things like they do today. And she kept turning around and laughing. I kept saying, come back, come back. And she'd laugh and run, run, and run. By the time I finally got her at the end, and I remember smacking her on the behind and while putting her foot in, and she's laughing, laughing. So when I get up to the plane, Poppy says to me, where in the world have you been? We've been looking for you. Where have you been? I was so mad. I said, don't ask me where I've been. I've chased this one all the way down to the other. And he says, we've got to get on the plane because we've got the baby and they want us on there before they let anybody else. I can always remember with her. Oh. She was, time. It's funny how you think of things. She was 4 years old. Right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right, yeah. When you tell the children not to do something, don't give in to them all the time, because when you don't and you give in to them all the time, then they're not going to listen to you because they know they have to or scream or do this and that, and then eventually you'll give in. Mm-hmm. So you just have to be firm, and it's hard a lot of times being firm like that, but I think, when children are when they're little, you have to sort of teach them, why, and give them an answer why you're doing this or that, and I think it'll be easier training them. Mm-hmm. Who was the first one was Bob, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he was a nice guy. We all loved Bob, and Bob had dogs. He liked dogs, and golden retrievers. And I remember he'd always come, and he was nice. And Ellen had met him, and she was at Montgomery College, and he was at Maryland. So when she had the first date with him, Kathleen happens to be home from Maryland, and Bob had knocked at the door and came in. Well, Kathleen knew him from Maryland because she was in a sorority, and he was in a fraternity, and she used to go to different things. And here Bob didn't live too far away from us. It was a date, I don't know how he met Ellen, or a blind date or something. And so we always loved Bob. Everybody loved Bob. And his father was an FBI agent. My sister and I, because we didn't have any grandparents, and we didn't have any really cousins or any relatives, and most of the people in the neighborhood, they all had relatives, and we never had any relatives. If somebody was coming down from New York, we would wait all day on the sidewalk for them to come down by train to New York. And we said that was a tradition. We would always make sure on the holidays we would get together. So we always did, like the Radigans, and then before my brother, and it would be Mother and Daddy. We would all get together, and I remember we would make cookies. But then we always made this was a bar, and you rolled it up, and it was chocolate and whipped cream in between, and we always made that, and that was the dessert. And we always had cookies, all kinds, every kind of cookie imaginable, and all those kind of things. Papa would be Santa Claus when you kids came along, my father, and he'd dress up as Santa Claus, and then we'd have all you kids, and I still have the pictures looking at all of you, so tiny, and we'd be at the different ones' houses, and and Santa Claus would come and give you things, and you were all excited, and you all had a good time, and that we did that every year for years. Different ones' houses from Virginia, and then when the boys got married, they were over in Ellicott City. We'd go there. It was a wonderful time. You kids all loved it, giving presents and playing with the games. Each house we had different things we did, yeah.
Nice.
But it's changed so much now, And I often wonder, my sister and I say this so many times, what was it like for Mother and Daddy when they came to this country? There was nobody, here. And it had to be, but you never heard a word of complaint. And they would go to Ireland, but we never got to go to Ireland. We never got to meet our cousins that we heard so much about. And we always felt we didn't want that to happen because we wanted our kids to know their grandparents and their aunts and uncles. Like we really miss that. We really miss that we never had that, yeah. So you try. So I'm lucky that my kids have all, when Dad died, Poppy died, Stevie moved down closer. And the kids still do, like Lacey said to me. Now she said, I can only 5 hours, he said, and I can come down and we can still all get together, And so it's like something you could do on a weekend. Always think of a God. Have a religion. Think of God. Who do you call as God? All right. I just want you to know that God was going to be your strength always. And even you might not always go along the path, but think of a God and who is in heaven and you're created. And think to love one another means, doesn't make any difference who anybody is, what color you are, what religion you are. Doesn't make any difference. Just learn to love one another because we're all created by God and we're meant to love one another. We're all eventually brothers and sisters. Yeah. That's what my advice to all my children who I love so much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite memory of Poppy? Claire wants to know that. Like, is there? I mean, there's probably way too many to count to think of.
Famous memory of Poppy?
Or favorite or anything.
He told me he'd find me someday. For me not to worry. He will always find me. So we'll find each other. Almighty God will decide how. It'll be our spirits. When he knew that the doctor told him he had about 10 days. I brought him home from the hospital. Not from the hospital, from the doctor's office, and Terry, God bless Terry, who takes care of, and Aunt Kathy takes care of all the little ones. She came and we had the big wheelchair and everything, and then I brought him home, and then I remember he got everything, and then I know it was a little bit later, and then I called your mom,
mm-hmm.
and Stevie, couldn't get different ones to tell him, and then Stevie came down from Boston and Danny, then everybody came and your mom. And so stayed with us until we were getting to the point that I would have to get a nurse around the clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then God decided that was the end. And
Yeah.
So they were all there, all my children, yeah.
Yeah.
The big thing Poppy told him was, promise me one thing. That he said, you're all married, different people, and all have your own families, and you're different. Every family is different. He said, you're not going to agree on everything. He said, that's just the way life is. You're not going to agree. But find something that you can never leave each other without being friends and shake hands. He said, just even if you disagree, you'll always say goodbye and shake hands and be friends because you're brothers and sisters.
Wow.
I remember him always saying that. They were all around the bed, and he told them, please always be good friends with one another. Yeah.
Is it just...
I think, he saw that there was some time in his family when they had a disagreement, and then how we had gotten them all back together. And he said, I just never want that to happen with the children. I want them all to love. And I see my family's like a united nation, but I said the grandkids all like to get together with one another. They seem to love to be with one another.
Yeah.
And I said, and all of us, none of us think alike, but they all, because that's what we're born to be, to free and to think what you want. But at least don't get mad with each other over different things.
Yeah.
So that's it. I
Yeah.
like both Kate and
What's the
Pop.
worst trait of one of your
Well, I don't think any of them have terrible traits, but
No.
you have to learn to live with everything.
Yeah.
And you
You have to-
can't start doing this, and everybody lives differently, and if that's what they like, then you have to accept it.
Okay. So.
Remember what
Megan,
Daddy said to
why
all
is
of you?
Why is Megan no longer the favorite? That's probably a better question.
Megan, why she's not going?
Why is she no longer the favorite grandchild?
Who said she was not the favorite
Well, everybody
grandchild?
kind of thought she was, because she kind of.
Oh, I never knew that. I never knew that.
Yeah, it was sort of a.
Maybe
everybody kinda knew
because she was-
unspoken. It was an unspoken truth.
No, I think because she was shy, maybe because she was
Megan?
always shy and she was always holding on to her mom.
Scared
And you
of
know
the
who
dark.
does
Was she
that a
scared
little
of the
bit?
dark?
Huh?
Was Megan scared of the dark?
I was scared of the dark. I'm
Oh, you
still
were?
don't like the dark.
Oh,
In fact, I sometimes get up and walk around and make sure
keep your
there's
light on.
nobody in the bathroom and there's nobody in the closets or under the bed.
Who do you think might be there? Like a
I don't know,
boogeyman?
Daddy said to me before he died,
Yeah. Always checked under the bed?
no,
No.
he said, do you think you can live here if anything happens to me?
Yeah.
And I said, well, there's only one way they can get in, is the door, and they'd have to put a ladder to come up the other way.
Right. Right.
And everybody'd see him from 10th floor down. I
Now,
don't like being by
If you
myself.
could, if you could change one thing about your son Dan, what would it be?
My son Dan,
Yeah, what was the one thing you would change? Just, I mean, there's probably a lot, but it just, there's one. What would
one
it be?
thing, I think he should start taking it a little bit easier.
Yeah. His hair is getting too thin, is that it? Or what?
No, I didn't know.
He should just stop working so much.
No, he's driving and, doing all these things, but he wants to. Daddy
Right.
said he worked till he was 80,
Right. Yeah.
and so,
You're saying Danny looks like he's 80? Is that
no,
right?
I
Is
didn't
that-
say he looks like he's 80, but no, he doesn't.
Okay.
But I think you kids are like, Mother and Daddy were to all of us, always helping us.
Right.
And always doing things, and when Lisi said to me, Minnie, it's only gonna be 5 hours, he said, and then I can get down to, she was gonna send me some pictures, but I didn't, she's probably so busy moving into that place, and did she have to go to work Monday?
No, she goes this Monday.
This Monday, and so when I
There's
was,
a big plane crash today, I don't know if you heard, in India.
where?
India,
India, oh,
Yeah.
yes,
and so
Oh.
she's on the aircraft end, she's on,
what?
she works in aircrafts, aerospace. so-
Oh, is that where Lisi?
Yeah, with General Electric.
With General
yeah.
Electric, well, oh my, so she's busy,
So
busy.
everybody, like Boeing is having, it was a big Boeing 787, yeah.
Ooh. Another Boeing.
And where was
Another
it?
Boeing.
Was it in
India.
India? Many people killed?
240 at least, yeah. So
See,
just,
I was at John's this morning because he's from India. He's
yeah,
from
I
Goa.
bet you he knows somebody. There's only
I never even
a
said
billion
anything to him.
Yeah.
small.
Oh my
Alright,
God.
so Danny's got a work list. You wanna just go each of the kids, what they gotta do differently, if you had
No,
to give
I
them
guess she's
advice.
graduating Sunday. Sunday's.
Who? Oh, Alan,
Allie, Sunday's the graduation
up at Dartmouth?
up at Dartmouth. And then he, I guess,
She works, she started, I know, in New York, or I saw her.
well, she's working, did you see her, I guess, on Wall Street for, what is it, a month or 2 months or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah,
that?
summer.
And then she has to work, so many days a week at the culinary school, culinary school?
Dishwasher or something.
Yeah, something like that. But I guess she tried to get into the one in Ireland. I didn't know that Ireland was the best in the world. But she's on a waiting list. She said, Minnie, I'm not gonna get in, I
Yeah.
know. I didn't know, because the Irish people are not noted for their cooking.
No,
Yeah,
they,
you wouldn't think.
They,
Yeah.
they drink way too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked what she thought of each of her children's spouses when
Yeah.
she first met them.
She accepted.
There's some mixed.
There was
Did
a
I
delay.
answer it?
There's
Did
a
I
big-
answer it?
You answered.
Bob.
You answered Bob and you answered my dad. I didn't hear much about the other ones.
Did you give like a legal response, upon advice of counsel, I refuse to answer that question, or invoke my Fifth Amendment right? Like,
Let me see, let me see, Kathleen Javier, he's a nice,
I mean-
yeah, I like them all, Kathleen, let me see.
what's
And then
your coping
Your
strategy?
spouse would be Colleen, and we always everybody loved Colleen.
Yeah, but what's
And
your
then-
strategy to put up with the in-laws? I guess that's kind of, with your
What?
daughter-in-laws, how do you,
I say, remember what Daddy said?
just be quiet and go to bed, shut up
No,
and go to
he
bed?
did not, he said,
I'm gonna use the bell
you're
or
all
strap?
different families now. You learn to listen to your family, but you might not agree with everything everybody's saying.
Right.
But each family has their decisions, what they want. Try to find something that you can agree on and agree on that, but never walk away at night without saying goodbye to, and always do that. He said, promise me, because I think because of his family, with the ones that had that for years, but then they all got back together again.
Yeah,
He never wanted that to happen in our family.
yeah,
He said, you're not all going to agree and like everything. He said, that's why we're all different families, Can you
And then-
imagine everybody having to live in one house? Yeah, years ago they did that. Can you imagine having to
Can't
do
imagine
that?
it now.
Or the women had to move in with your in-laws, and the in-laws were the boss, and you had to. Can you imagine how it was for women years ago?
Yeah.
before they were given the chance to vote,
And
or,
they couldn't vote. But I mean, you did whatever your husband told you to do.
and,
And you couldn't look at the Jewish people still. Is it the ones that still keep their hair covered?
yeah, and no back
I
talk
see.
No.
either, no back talk.
Yeah. Some of that could maybe.
So you're
I mean-
saying the best advice, that was good advice from Dad.
And I mean,
How
and
would
I-
you change it though? What would you do differently?
if I had to
Your
change
advice,
it,
your advice to your grandkids.
no, I wouldn't
You've
change
already
it.
given it. No.
Yeah,
I'd
she
say-
She gave that
She gave
one.
it.
Mhm.
I guess what would you, as far as like the world goes, what's like the biggest technological change you've noticed?
Well, I think. Well, see, I don't know what you call all these things, but I watch them
Don't
with
like that
with the like your telephones, your house telephone. I see how these little ones. I don't even know how to do it, and they're push this, and I say I can't get it, and little Danny, he just go no. He says, wait a minute, and he
Danny knows how to do it.
and
Just-
it just amazes me, and but he doesn't have a phone of his own, and he'll
Or he knows how to get the password to open up the phone.
Not the,
probably.
no, I don't know the password. I don't think he knows how to, but he knows how I have the one red. One of the apps is red, and if you push that, and then he can get the one where the doggy comes on and the children, and he.
Well, what was the biggest excitement in your life? Did you have running water when you grew up? Yes.
In our house, yes.
How about TV, when you first saw a TV?
Oh, we were first saw a TV, and the people across the street. I got an Irish guy ringing them, and we went on their front porch, and they pulled up the Venetian blinds, and they let us look in and see the TV. We could not believe the TV. I can still remember that, across the street at the
Yeah.
people, yeah, and Then-
Black and white. Yeah.
black and white,
then
and then,
color
and then you
eventually.
had to get up, and you had a thing, you had to turn it. You know, you
Yeah.
had to go to
There were
the
3
TV,
channels,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 3 channels, and you had to turn it, yeah. Turn it up, turn it low, you had to get up and,
Yeah, yeah.
Where were you when Kennedy was shot? Do you remember?
Kennedy shot, I was home in my, house when Kennedy was shot. Yeah, right, I can remember we had just come home the day before from California.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting on the steps going down to the family room, and the TV was on, and Mother and Daddy, yeah.
Now, was Bobby or Aunt Bobby or Mom, was she a good Chuck baby?
I said, but they asked me about Bobby. He asked me about Bobby, and I told him his mother was very, very good, and how very quiet, and how she slept, and how I left her with my mother for about 6 weeks and went down to Florida. Mother said, let me keep the baby, because you've got to unpack all your furniture and do all that, because you only got so much money, and to
Yeah.
break
Yeah.
even. So Daddy says, I said, no, no, no. And Daddy said, why don't you? Because your mother's never flown in an airplane, and we'll get her to fly in an airplane, because she'll have to bring the baby, and Daddy brought her. And so she did, so we did, and they stayed, and then she came back and forth to Florida to see us all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When you were all were little.
And how was Uncle Steve as a child?
Yeah.
Probably not.
He was a hellion.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He was very
Was.
easygoing.
glad to hear it.
He was very, but then when he got mad with his brother, when he got a little bit older, and he could play ball and could do, and when his brother bossed him and made him too much,
Yeah.
he didn't argue or fight with him. You know what he did? He just threw the ball, and then he left and went in the house and went downstairs and didn't talk to him. And then
Yeah.
Danny was furious because he didn't somehow have somebody else to play the basketball game.
I
with.
shunned him.
Yeah,
It was
right.
like
You shunned him.
Shun.
I've heard.
Unshun. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard there was stories like you finally won a game of basketball, and Dan,
Yeah.
come on, one more game.
Yeah. He had to go into
Yeah, right.
psychotherapy
Yeah.
training.
So he was
Yeah,
quiet.
go to therapy.
He's more like his father.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
Now, you were driving since your age
16, on my 16th birthday.
What's the fastest you've driven? Have you gone over 100 miles an hour?
I don't think I've
On the
gone
drive
over
up here.
100, but
90?
I've gone up to 90.
90?
Mhm.
Where? When was that?
I don't know. I
Bay
must.
Bridge? On the Bay Bridge?
Heights don't bother me. You knew who was afraid of heights, but I never knew
Yeah.
this for years. Was your father?
Oh, really?
And you know who was also very afraid of heights is your brother Danny.
Danny. Yeah.
Because Kathleen said she was in. They went up to see some. What do you call them? Not temples.
Pyramids down in Mexico.
Pyramids.
Yeah.
And she said she went down, and she said the next thing she turned around, and Danny says, Kath, and he's sitting at the top of it, up at the top. And she said, what's the matter? He said, can you come back up? He said, my head is so dizzy.
I
He
need a
said, the
moment.
heights.
I'm having a
Yeah.
moment.
And somebody else, I think Ellen was like that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, right.
Hmm.
Now, are you afraid of heights? I don't
No,
have
not
any.
that I'm a little bit, maybe. A little bit, but. Now, what's the most interesting place in the world you've traveled to? I know you've been all over the world. Like Amish country in Pennsylvania? No.
It was nice, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Thailand.
Ireland?
I loved Ireland. I went to, when we went to Greece, what is that that's right next to Greece? Athens, but what else? Where Mary's.
Turkey.
Turkey.
Santorini.
Blessed Mother, I never knew that. That was beautiful.
Oh, that's
Blessed
the
Mother's house.
Ephesus or
Was
where
that,
her
was that in-
birthplace was? Or
was it
something
right
like
there
that?
next, because we went Turkey, and then we were Athens and Santorini in Greece, and I remember going to Mary's house, and that was beautiful, and then they built a big church there, but that's where she lived until she was died, the Blessed Mother.
Oh. Was she only 14 when she gave birth to Jesus?
I don't know.
I think she was.
Was she only
I think
14?
Joseph was.
Well, that
Yeah.
would be, women, are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Mom, you use the phrase, hey, he doesn't bother me.
Who?
You use the phrase when you kind of characterize people, you say, oh, he doesn't bother me. Do you know that? Are you aware that you tend to use that phrase a lot?
Maybe I did with animals, dogs or
I think
cats.
it's with humans or maybe it could be with animals, but so when you say like, oh, this person, he doesn't bother me, is that sort of interpreted as like a little backhanded, like,
No,
stay away from me, I don't wanna deal with you?
no,
No?
no.
Okay,
no.
that's how we always took it, like Colleen's family, like Colleen's brother, he doesn't bother me. That's sort of a,
Oh, he doesn't,
Oh,
but, well,
that's
I
not really a
guess,
compliment.
well, maybe when other people make comments about him, and I will
You're
just say,
sticking
well,
up
he
for them.
doesn't, I just say, he
Yeah,
doesn't
he's
bother
not
me.
great, but
In other
he's not
words,
weird,
you
he's
know,
kinda weird, but
I don't have
I'll
any
accept it.
problem with him, I don't have any problem with him, you know,
Okay,
cause he
so it's
doesn't
an
bother me.
acceptance.
Is he back, is he all right?
We have no location, we have no geo-tracker. He and Ellie Mae are kind of in the same vicinity.
Yeah.
You haven't
No,
heard, you don't?
Haven't heard from him in a couple months.
Couple
and,
months.
you know,
Well, I
but
see where they,
that, he doesn't bother us. Yeah, it doesn't bother us that way.
well, you see that they let exchange with the, what's the country where they're fighting?
Ukraine.
Ukraine, that they send all those prisoners back. But then they said a lot from the Ukraine have been killed and
Yeah.
everything because in the family, Sam's parents were from the Ukraine. And then, who else is, some other people I know, parents are from the Ukraine, yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad, isn't it, the whole thing killing each other? Why are we continue to kill and kill and kill and starve people to death? That guy in Israel said it's all right to starve them to death, not to let food get in. Can you believe that? These little, dear little children, those big eyes looking at you and these...
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're making me hungry. Maybe we should go get something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
But,
No, we're not starved yet,
no, we're not.
not
Not
starved.
yet. We're not.
Not yet.
We're not Israel
We're
yet.
not. Doesn't bother us.
No.
You know, but you think of the world, how we all treat one another, you know?
Right.
And I always think of, like Danny, I can
Especially the people we don't like or are different.
Well, people that, like Danny said, when he was in Germany, he was so shocked calling, and he was on a bus, and he said, if you came from Africa or anywhere, he said even Mexico, and he said they would throw you off the bus. And he said, I can't believe this. He says, I don't open my mouth. He said, but I'm glad I have blonde hair and blue
Yeah.
eyes and white skin. He said, because they do, but I don't open my mouth. He said, because I'm afraid the people, and the bus driver stops and they throw you off the bus.
Wow.
But that was when he was, remember when he was in Germany, when he was at the Goethe Institute, I think after he got
Yeah.
out, was that after law school or was it before? I don't remember. But he said
I thought he just ran away from home.
he
Was
probably
he doing
did,
something over there?
but he probably always found some place to stay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, who's gonna be traveling?
Now, where do you think you'll be on your 100th birthday?
I hope I'll be in heaven.
In heaven. Okay.
With your
That's
father.
One option.
Yeah.
How about any other options?
If I'm here on this earth, I know I will probably be in some nursing home that I can't do anything for myself.
Oh,
Please God, I'm not,
okay. Well,
because
I
that's
don't
a
know if that's gonna
burden
make
for
the
you
final
kids.
cut.
Not a fan of that.
Poor Beth, I
Blooper-
mean, I
blooper
saw
reels.
her
Oh yeah, blooper reel.
and
Yeah.
I talked,
When did she pass away?
she passed away, a week ago Sunday.
Like within a month of Uncle Mike, right? Or 3
Yeah,
weeks or something.
so-
Yeah.
And so, you know,
Are we gonna have a funeral for her? Or is that
well, I
kinda
sent him
not in the budget?
I sent him a text yesterday. I said, Patrick, you know, so finally I hear from him, and he says, well, it's a lot more than I would expect, a lot harder than I expected, you know,
Yeah.
getting all things together. So I said, well, I'm sure. But I said, well, maybe if she's cremated, and I said, and Mike, you could bury them both together, because they have the plot
Oh,
up,
yeah.
you know, the
Yeah.
Malin. And he said, well, Michael said, wherever Hopkins wants to bury me, you know, that's fine with him, he doesn't have to come back, because then it wouldn't cost him any money.
Yeah.
And so I said, so then he said to me, then next I get a text, well, maybe it's gonna be in a couple weeks.
Okay.
So I don't know what they're
Maybe.
doing.
Maybe.
So I don't know if it's cheaper to bury, cremate or use a casket. I think it's cheaper to cremate.
Okay.
I don't know. I
I'm sure
haven't.
we'll go with the low cost option. Hey, I gotta go take this call, but then after that, I'm sort of
Whenever you're
free and
ready,
easy.
Mike.
But
Yeah, I'm
Steve-
easy.
He doesn't have to go just yet. He doesn't have to cook supper. Do you have to cook
Are you
supper for
cooking
your
tonight?
mom and dad?
No, last time I cooked steaks, I'm banned from the grill from now on.
Man,
You're what? You're bad for that?
Yeah, well, I was told 7 minutes on each side.
Yeah.
My mom got a brand new grill, so it was
Oh, did she?
it was working.
Yeah.
Because our old grill kind of didn't work very
Yeah,
well.
Yeah, uh-huh.
So you could take
7 minutes.
7
on
minutes,
each-
but they were black by the time I.
God, they were well done. The
They
people
were-
that like well done things
Yeah,
got well
people
done.
who like well done didn't even like them. I don't think.
But no, she said, I asked her about how Dad is, and she said that he's been in so much pain. He was even just putting his pants on. She said
Ooh.
it was so painful.
Yeah.
But she said he got the shot. I got another shot,
Yeah.
and that was feeling better. But I wonder how he was today.
She doesn't. I mean, she mentioned like one little thing about it. I guess if it was that serious, she would have told
Well,
me
I
more.
guess he's really been in a lot of pain for a while.
I'm gonna turn this light on.
Oh, what?
Just this lamp.
This lamp?
Give you some nice orange. If it turns on. Maybe not. No. Okay.
I don't know if it's on a timer or what.
Yeah. Might.
I don't know.
There's a. I don't know.
I don't know how either. What do you want? You wanna?
No, we can just hang out. This thing's kind of still recording. I can stop it if you want.